football is first in the South. Like they actually close businesses for football games on Friday nights. Like people close early, schools close for big games. It's very football forward. So I grew up not watching Cartoon Network. It's a lot of movies that I should have I have not even watched The Lion King before.
Jam.
What's up, guys? It's the Milla, and you're watching the Jam interview.
Jam.
What's your story?
Oh man, I want to say it started back like maybe like my not my sophomore year, but my senior year in high school. I used to record music, like engineering, for my friends, and so they would come over and do songs, and I was just the button man. You know, I had the microphone, I had all the equipment, so they would kind of come in and let me handle all of the tech stuff. So when they would leave, you know, I would go look for beats myself. So I found a beat and I actually cut my first song. And I kind of told them about it, and they was like, "Oh man, that's cool. You should start rapping with us." So we started rapping together, and I just got to a point where, like, you know, I kind of wanted to do my own thing too. And I'm very hands-on, so I wanted to be handling my graphic work. And I did my graphics. I started out doing graphic designing heavily. And then I wanted to get to a point where I wanted to create my photos and my imagery for my music. So actually, I think it was Thanksgiving Day. I asked my mom I wanted to buy a camera, and she went half with me and I bought my first camera. So I started taking pictures of my family, being that everybody was together. And it developed into, you know, more of a passion of that. Because, I mean, every form of art was always pleasing to me. And so I went from there, and I graduated high school and I went to college. And then I started doing photos around, you know, there. And actually, it's like the best mistake I ever made. I actually took my camera to a bar, like on college night one time. And for some odd reason, dude, I was taking pictures in the bar. And like, it was weird because why did I do that? I don't know. But I ended up taking pictures of like one girl or whatever, and she cursed me out. Dude, she went off on me. And then like, so I ended up editing the photos that I got that night and putting them up on my Facebook page. And everybody from the, you know, they started getting tagged. And then she saw me that next time on college night. She was like, "Hey, that picture came out kind of cool. I'm so sorry for cussing you out," and all that stuff. So I got recognized by the club owner, and then he started paying me to come in and take pictures to promote his bar, his club. And then I actually got bought from that club to another bar. So I started taking pictures over here. And then that kind of expanded out to me taking portraits outside of the club bar scene. And then I eventually worked my way up to, you know, working a wedding. And I just like got totally away from the bar scene, totally away from the club scene. And it's just been going from there, man. So that's it in a nutshell. I mean, obviously not all the details, but that's definitely what got me into photography.
Yeah, that's an interesting journey. Yeah, a lot of photographers I usually like hear about like somebody, you know, just taking pictures with their friends, and it kind of just grows from there. But yeah, that's interesting. You kind of did it at a bar.
Yeah, that was very weird.
Were you in like in another mind state when you were doing that? That's probably why you were taking the pictures. Like, oh, let me go ahead.
Right. I honestly, dude, I have no clue what I was thinking. Like, but it's crazy though, because if I never would have done that, man, I never would have been able to like grow as fast as I did, because those bars and on college nights, it touched so many different people, because I lived in a small town. There's a lot of people from out of town. And then when I would post the pictures and tag them, like their friends back at home would see it, and it was just like it spread it real good. So it was definitely something that turned out good, thankfully, because it could have been bad. I could have been banned or something like that. So, you know, but it didn't happen like that. So I'm thankful.
Tell the people where you're from and how did you get your name?
I'm from a small town called Tifton, Georgia. It's like South Georgia. It's like, you know, maybe a good hour, 30 minutes, maybe from Florida, north of Florida. But I guess I actually got my name Milla from a classmate. I forget what was it. I think 7th grade. I was super not popular. Like I was not popular at all in school. And in art class, I was headed art class for the first day, and we were paired in twos. And my partner was the most popular kid in school. And so when I walked in the first day, he was actually sitting on top of the desk, and the teacher had our names on the desk. And my real name is Marquis. It's Marque. So when I walked in, we sat down, and he looked at me. He said, "What's up, Milla?" And I was like, "Huh?" And I said, "My name is Marquis." It's like written on the desk. He said, "Well, I can't pronounce that, so your name Milla." And dude, I hated it. And being that he was the most popular kid in school, he deemed me Milla, and everybody started calling him Milla. I hated it, dude. I hated it, man. But it's just one of those things that I just ended up growing into, like, because I mean, I couldn't run from it. Everybody at school, hey, the most popular kid in school calls you Milla. So nobody knew my name because I wasn't popular at all. So it's like, hey, that's Milla. And I ended up growing into it. So me and him actually ended up being real close. We ended up getting real cool, and I guess people saw him hanging with me, and it kind of like made me somewhat, popular, or whatever. But he recently passed away a couple years, like some years back. He went to the army, and he came back, and unfortunately, he got into it with somebody, and they ended up shooting him and killing him. So, yeah, man, he definitely gave me that name, man, and I definitely think of him often for that.
Yeah, that's one, inspiring, and two, it's just a very interesting story. And unfortunately, that happened to him, and
yeah,
thankfully you've embraced it, and carrying that name on behalf of him, and giving you that name. So
exactly, man. I hold it to my heart for sure.
So who inspires you in terms of photography?
Oh, a little bit of everybody, man. I show love to numerous artists. I'm definitely not a selfish guy or jealous in that sense, because a lot of people in this business, they do that whole, jealousy. I don't know. It's whack, honestly. But a lot of people inspire me for different reasons. I do have my mentors that I do look up to, as far as my, big mentor who started me out with like doing the sports photography, Andy Canutis. He's the team photographer for the Minnesota Vikings. And he opened that door for me to shoot NFL, pro ball, and which I went on the network and with a few other people, which opened the door for me to shoot college football. And, I learned a lot of things from those guys. And but mostly, man, when I look at an artist, it's not so much of the quality of the work all the time. It's the person, it's the artist, and like the vision, and just the way they embrace that whole "we are in this together" thing instead of "I'm better than him" and that kind of stuff. And so I take, it's a lot of people that inspire me, a lot of people under my wing, and a lot of people that I just look up to that I haven't even reached out to, who I've never spoken with. And it's a lot of people who I do keep in close contact with that I am all inspired by. I always keep close, contact with other photographers. I shout them out all the time. My boy Hunter Peacock. It's a bunch of them, man. It's I can't even think. My little bro, Caden Walker, man. He's the guy from Valdosta, Georgia. He's doing like amazing. So, I mean, it's all about just really showing love. So I'm inspired by many, man. I really am. And I'm blessed to even, know them.
What was that experience like doing photography for an NFL game?
The first time, man, well, first off, I guess you got to know my background. Coming from the South, man, it's we are very football is prioritized. Football is first in the South. Like, they actually close businesses for football games on Friday nights. Like, people close early, schools close for big games. It's very football forward. So I grew up not watching Cartoon Network. It's a lot of movies that I should have, like, I have not even watched The Lion King before. Like, it's movies that, you watch it in your childhood that I have never got around to because me and my dad watch Sports Center. I can tell you about the history. I can tell you about all kind of football stuff. It's basically football. And so being that I know that, so well. And I'm the team photographer. Well, I was the team photographer for my high school before I moved out here. Um, Football has always been a huge thing in my life. And just, watching it on TV. And the first time I think I stepped on the field, my wife and I, we flew to Minnesota. And I was shooting. It was back when Adrian Peterson played for the Vikings. And my favorite receiver at the time they was playing the Chicago Bears. It was Brandon Marshall. And we was walking on the field, and I was telling my wife, I'm like, hey, man, that would be cool, if I saw Brandon Marshall. And we was walking towards the locker room, and right before we did, a player walked out in front of us. He was like 7 foot tall. And I stepped back, and looked over, and he just kind of looked over at me, and it was Brandon Marshall. And I was like, whoa. But those guys are huge, man. It's like, there was like the ground rumbles when they moved. So it was very cool to shoot. But just to be around football and knowing that I was doing what I like to do, what I love to do in photography, as well as being around the sport that I love, and then on top of that, it's the top level of football. It's like real surreal, man. And things like moments don't really hit me at the time. When I was there, it really didn't hit me until afterwards. Like, it's like, dang, I just really photographed the NFL game. So that was my first game, and it was big for me later. At the time, I was just, I was doing what I love to do. It was football. I'm very comfortable in that environment. So, but afterwards, man, it's like, that's something I can put on my belt. That's something that I could say that I've done. So, and then, which I've shot like 2 or 3 other games since then. So it kind of become, I don't really get too nervous or too overhyped or too like fan, I'm not really like fanboy over it, because I feel like that's where I'm supposed to be. So it's like, I'm nowhere that I stumbled upon. I'm nowhere that I accidentally came upon, because it's what I worked for. So why would I be nervous about something that I grinded for? So, but it was definitely an awesome experience for me.
Yeah. Myself as a photographer, I take the mindset of act like you've been there before, have that professionalism, have that, the courtesy, just, making sure that you're respecting of the place, the people, the audience, or, the subjects, or, in my case, the bands or the musicians,
right.
Respecting their space and respecting the space of the venue as well, and all the rules and guidelines that they have for the photographers. So yeah, I definitely understand what you're talking about. And like, in terms of, what you said was, being who you already are.
Exactly.
What's the ratio of studying the art of photography to actual photo shoots that you do?
Man, that's something I wish you would. Man, you have to ask my wife that, dude. She know how much I study, bro. I study more. It's like, I think nowadays I see a lot of people that want to pick up a camera, and like they'll message me like, "Hey, man, what's a good camera? What's a good camera?" And I think they miss the fact that it starts with an artist. It's like the camera is good, but I've seen people shoot, better with less. So it starts with just studying, man. You got to know what you're doing. Like, it's not so much of just the camera. You could do the same things with your phone, but you have to understand angles and the rule of thirds. You got to understand the composition. It's a lot of things that the camera don't have a button for. There's a lot of things that just can't be taught with that manual that comes with the camera. So my studying, I do a lot of research. I do more of that than anything. And my wife has sat here and watched me spend countless hours on YouTube, just looking at websites, reading, all kind of stuff, man. I definitely do my research when it comes down to stuff like that. And then when I get out there, man, it's like, it just comes together. Sometimes it don't. Like, sometimes you will, but that's why I shoot often. Like, even if I got something that I want to learn, I call up a friend or call somebody up like, hey, man, I just try to perfect it. And then after I even, get it, I still go back and try to do some more research on it, just to kind of not necessarily master it. It's not even about mastering it. It's just getting comfortable with the techniques and just getting comfortable with what I'm doing. because in my mind, I'm never content, so I would never master anything. It's always something I could do better or more. So it's just that research, man. That research ratio is is pretty high, man, on the research side for sure.
Um, what's the importance of doing more with less?
Oh man, I started out with less. I started out with you know not much at all, and I used to reach out to a lot of people, and that's why I said that mentality. And I think this is why I take on this mentality of helping as many people as I can. Because when I started, I reached out to a lot of people that was big in the game, like as far as in my hometown coming up, and I didn't necessarily get embraced, so I had to do a lot on my own, and I think that's actually what sparked that research in me, because I didn't really get that hands-on experience tagging along, shadowing a photographer, because they never really gave me that opportunity, and so I didn't have as much, and so I just wanted to master the other things outside of having the equipment. I needed to know those rule of thirds. I needed to know those composition. Um, you know, because I didn't have the exact quality or the exact things that they had. So whatever I could do to take it up, to make it closer, to close the gap between the equipment and what I had, I would do that. I would take those steps.
Yeah, and it's kind of there's also like information gap sometimes too, where I don't know if you've experienced this as a Black photographer, but there's certain knowledge that is passed on. Sometimes a lot of photographers like coming up now, their fathers or their mothers or one of their parents were photographers, so some of that knowledge has been passed on, or they've had the opportunity to go to an art school or something like that and study photography. So there's that knowledge gap. How do you deal with that?
For one thing, well, I'm everything I've learned, I'm self-taught. Outside of what I picked up from people I'm inspired by, and just asking questions. Um, my dad actually he did some photos before, and it was just I think it was just like he was doing it for a friend or something like that. It was nothing like professional. My uncle is actually a professional photographer, but during those times, of his reign and all that, I wasn't really into photography, so I wasn't there around him much to even like pick up on things. So I was just kind of like pick this up a little, on my own, and I never really got that, like that, like I said, that shadowing experience, to where I went along and watched everything. I just kind of like learned from, like I said, like just doing my research and following up on people online that I'm inspired by. But yeah, man, it can be tough sometimes for Black artists sometimes, because we don't have exactly all of those resources coming out, and it can be tough, man. But I think you just got to like kind of, whatever your situation is, man, don't make an excuse of it. You just gotta, like I say, man, research. The internet is free. The internet is open. Reading is open. Like, we have a ton of things at our disposal that we can get to and figure this stuff out. And people like I'm not the only one. There's a lot of people out there that's willing to help hold their hand down and pick up. So just got to find those people with that energy and that mind frame to do so, and just kind of surround yourself with that energy.
Yeah. And it's gonna take a lot of drive too. And it's gonna be, a lot of off days to where you don't feel motivated, but that's when you have to continue to dig deep and either reach out or continue studying or continue making the art.
Right. It definitely takes some will. It takes some drive, because it's a lot of things that happen that's out of your control, that could definitely knock you off of the motivational train, man. You gotta find your way, man. Ultimately, it's up to you.
Absolutely. Um, so yeah, share with everybody where they can find you online and what you have coming up.
Okay, you can find me on both. Most of all of my handles is the Milla, TheMilla. That's Instagram. My Facebook one was taken up, so I had to add an extra e, so it's TheeMilla. As far as that, as well as Twitter, but Snapchat is the Milla. And YouTube is actually youtube.com/Marquis Reese, MarqueeReese, which I'm in the process of trying to get that translated over to the Miller, but I got to do some more research on that. I got to dig into that. But as far as projects coming up, man, I just want to do a lot of more. I want to do more stuff in LA. I'm trying to like definitely get my work more known in Los Angeles. We'll be going back, I think, in a few months or next month actually. Friend of mine, Cody, he's definitely done some good work out there, and I linked up with him a few like 2 weeks ago. Sorry, I think 2 weeks ago, and we collabed for the first time, man. We just clicked, man. It's some artists you can meet, and it's just like you're already there. So we're definitely gonna be doing a lot of partnering up on some films and stuff. I'm just trying to dive more into the filming scene. So I've done photography for so long. I just like to keep my mind open and just try to, keep new avenues flowing to keep my mind going. I don't like being content. So I'm definitely going to be doing more filming out in LA coming up.
All right, cool. Yeah, thank you very much, sir. Thank you for doing the interview.
No problem, man. Take it easy, dude. Jam. Thank you for watching, guys. Keep jamming.